nobody dumps of him. Because you are relevant to the extent to which you add value. So long as you keep adding value, people will look for you.
Good.
People will always. So you got to a point where once there's any business, any organization coming into the university for one thing, the vice chancellor will say, interface with OFEM. And once you come to me, okay, how do we go about it? And the program is established. As the director of Career Development Center, I was also managing the sexual and gender-based violence, the team lead. God helping us, we were able to develop a policy for United Nations. And as time went on, a new vice chancellor came in and said, you have done well in the career. Come and lead the Center for Sexual and Gender-Based Violence. So that was how I became the director. And so far, God helping us, we have done marvelously well.
Wow. That's been a long journey. Please, let's put our
Don't say Dr. Femi is praising herself.
I know.
But also believe that before now, we used to have the issue of students coming to the university and you cannot graduate because one lecturer or the other is making advances and they are sitting down. That is history now in the university.
Please,
because all cases of students coming in and the Center for Response and Prevention of Social and Gender-Based Violence services both students and staff. Okay. So we have like created a safe haven for the staff and the students. And the Vice Chancellor once made a comment and said, this directorate has built-in confidence. There is increased reporting now. We have had some lecturers being dismissed from the system. We have had some being demoted. You know, people are now confident to now come and say, this person is harassing me.
All right, Dr. Ofem, I think that is very
So there are two giant steps we have made in the university, which I think...
You come to that, maybe by the time we have the second round. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that because of our time, great job you've done. So we also know where it is starting from. At least we have an inkling to the fact that you've always been along that line of standing apart and standing for your gender to also show a mark. So great. Buki, let me quickly come to you now. Again, while you are being introduced, you started off your career sometimes in telecoms, I guess. Somewhere, you went to telecoms, then you veered off into other industry, FMCG, you went around, and you found yourself again back in. Is this part of the growth plan? Was this planned from the beginning? Or what are one or two things that has led you this far? Just some experience sharing briefly. Thank you.
Okay. I wish I could tell you that I had a plan from the onset. But I think, like we all know about life, right? Sometimes you don't quite know what path, your career would take. Yeah. For me, I think I would describe myself as an adventurer. Because I like to take opportunities and, see what will come out of it. I studied educational technology. But when I entered university to study electrical engineering. So what happened, life happened. I wanted to do something really different from what my parents were doing, what my siblings were doing. So I said I was going to go and study engineering. My father said, there's nobody in our family that is an engineer. This path that you are taking is for guys. What are you looking for? At that point, I must tell you, I didn't know either. But you know what? I had gone on my own, filled my JAMB for myself, put the University of Ilorin. I didn't know anyone there. I'm not from Kwara State. I wanted to be far away from my family. I wanted to chart my own course. So I did electrical engineering for the first 2 years, and I failed. And I had never failed before because in my primary school and my secondary school, I had, certificates, awards, recognitions for different things. So this was something that I had never experienced before. And for me, the reason why I'm sharing this story is because it ties in with this resilience thing. Because as much as we talk about resilience being, you just stick at it and all that, there's a part of resilience that is born from failure. And if you have not failed before, you cannot understand
Is somebody picking something
what it
from the hall?
means to pick yourself from the ground and stand up. And when I say failing, I'm glad that there are coppers here and there are freshers here. I mean failing where they tell you advice to withdraw. Yes. So I had what we call today a destiny helper. A faculty officer who reached out to me and said, I look at you and I see you have potential. Do you know what? What else would you like to do aside engineering? I said, it's engineering, I don't know any other thing. So she said, okay, you know what? What I can do is that with your results and all that, and when I say results, I mean school sets, why don't you go and try, spend 1 year in education? Since you are so fixated on something that has to do with technology, we have a department, the Educational Technology Department. Go and spend 1 year there. And then after that, if you still want to do this, then we can now have a conversation. So this very kind woman, Destiny Helper, arranged for me to change faculties and also and departments. So I moved from I moved from main campus. For those who know University of Illinois, moved from there to the mini campus. And then I started. I had lost my self-esteem because I had never failed before. I didn't know, I was that child in the family where everybody would be like, just be like her. So I was that person who all of a sudden had to go and do education, and education for me was equal to teacher. So I was like, I'm going to now be a teacher. And my family, I love my mother's family. There are quite a number of teachers there. I didn't want to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted to be in a place where I could make money, and, continue to stand out as I had always desired to. To shorten my story, at the end of that year, after doing the first 2 semesters, my grades went from someone who was like 40%, 30%, because I didn't understand even what I was learning, to somebody who was getting 80s and 70s. In fact, my first results that came out, I had to ask someone to please check that this is my matric number, but the score does not look like it's my own, And I began to taste success again. And by the time, at the end of that year, I told myself, I'm not going back to engineering, I'm winning here. So, but I also dealt with, what do I do with this certificate? Where do I start from? And that's where resilience helps you recognize that you are not perfect, you can fail, but also gives you the courage to try again and keep trying. And today, honestly, I don't think my degree has anything to what maybe it opened a door, because by the time I left university, and my story is a bit long, but by the time I left university and I really started working, I found myself, my first real job in telecoms, and that was in learning and development. And this was someone who had studied educational technology. So somehow, the learning part and understanding how people learn and how to transfer information and give them, help them to grow and learn new things became something that I ended up doing, and this provided a platform. So just to round up, you need to be adventurous. And you also need to embrace the fact that you will not be perfect and you will fail. And you know what? It's okay. A lot of these organizations that we admire today, the GEs, the big, 100 years firms that we look up to today, both nationally and globally, they have their own stories and their own journeys. And I can tell you, for a lot of them, it's hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss, until they begin to find something that helps them to start winning. So resilience is critical for us to be impactful today, for us to be able to have careers that are meaningful, and for us to live lives that add value. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, let's put hands together for our panelists. Great. So listening to all of them this morning, one thing that is clear is nobody arrived here in one day. Are we together? There's always a journey. There's always a journey. But what makes you arrive at a destination, even if there's no end, you still continue on your journey. But what takes you from one point to the other is that capacity, that ability to continue to do what? To keep moving, to keep learning, and to keep growing. Thank you so much. In just two minutes, because of our time, two minutes because of our time, we have very young, aspiring, great potentials, talent in the room here this morning. I'm sure a lot of them will walk up to you after this session to say, what can I do? So just in 2 minutes, as we pass the mic back, let me start from Benga. If somebody walks to you in the room, I'm sure you may not be able to meet more than 10, 15, depending on the time, but you have the opportunity now. Can you just talk to our people here for just 2 minutes? What can we take out of this place today? Tied to this team, tied to your experience, and in building their career. Thank you so much.
Okay. So one factor that I consider fundamental for us to be able to succeed is our motivation. Okay? We must be motivated to do what we do. Then the second point about motivation is where's your motivation coming from? I like the word and the sound of intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation means that your motivation is coming from within. Because there is nothing that we have set out to achieve. I mean, the story that everyone has said here came with all kinds of challenges. I mean, my story was almost similar to, to our story. I went to Great Ife. Okay. And I wanted to be a doctor. Had brilliant results, but at the end of the day, I left university with microbiology certificate. And so, yes, so the point of intrinsic motivation now became that, look, whether it is microbiology or whatever it is that I come out with in this university, I must succeed. So my motivation is from within. It's not external. It's not about what do you have to show the world. And then it became a solution. And just like we said, nobody is also promising you that you will not face another challenge tomorrow. So from there again, I was doing well in my career, then I lost my job again. So all these checks and all these challenges will be. And if your motivation is about things that are external, about the achievements that people can see, maybe money, all those things that are physical, those things may not work out all the time. I don't know if I'm sounding too vague, or real. But my point is that if it is in your mind that you want to succeed, and just like when I started Authors Bridge about 10 years ago, we're actually past 10. And I remember one of the first programs I went for a seminar in a bank. I don't want to advertise any bank now. And then they started reeling out statistics. They said, before 5 years, 80% of businesses die. Okay? So it is not only about, I forbid it in Jesus' name. Over my, it's not about, but I told myself, I said, okay, now I have known the numbers. I promised myself that my business will be among the 20%. I didn't know what it was. So some of these things, we may also have to say them out and then see the challenge that we have given ourselves. And one of the things that came out for me was that during COVID, our revenue grew more than when there was no COVID. This is a month that we're locked down 4 months. And I was asking myself, so a lot of things can come from being motivated from within. And that can, help you to weather a lot of storms. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Self-motivation, determination. Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Gloville.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I think it's very important that we all have, this intrinsic motivation. I've spoken about discipline and work ethic earlier. So I'll just add 2 more things to it. And I feel like many of us go to these things. We hear a lot of things, but one thing just has to stick. Right? And you just have to go with it. But 2 key critical things I'm going to talk about now is, first, you need to determine, because where we are in Nigeria today, the unemployability rate we have in Nigeria. I'm not talking of unemployment rate. I'm talking of unemployability rates, meaning we have a lot of young people out there who should naturally be employable, but they are not employable because they lack certain either skills, exposure, or they've not applied themselves enough. I interview people almost every week, so I see these things, right? So it's not for the lack of jobs. There are jobs. People japa every day in this country, and they leave their jobs behind, but there are no people to fill them, right? So it means that there is a gap between where you are now and where you should really be, right? So what should you be doing? One, you must determine that I don't want to be a B player. I want to be an A player. Do you know what it means to be an A player? Somebody who set high standards for themselves always. I mean, you must have a distinction mindset. Whatever it is I'm going to do, I must leave a mark of excellence on it. I must leave a mark of distinction. I don't want to be average. That's what it means to say I don't want to be a B player. I just don't want to do it. Oh, my Oga is giving me this task. Let me just get it done. You need to apply yourself. Initiative. Take the initiative. Read wide. And that takes me to the next one so that I don't take time. You need to constantly develop yourself. Constantly. Every day. And we live in a digital technology. Sometimes when I say this, I want to cry because you don't even need money to grow today. You don't need a lot of money. On social media, see, I tell people why I like Twitter above any other social media is because you can just be scrolling and be learning because of the quality of conversations that happen on that platform. I read Reddit, I read Quora more than any other platform because just by reading, just by scrolling, you'll be learning a lot. YouTube is there. You don't have to subscribe anything more than your data. But people are more interested in watching skits, more interested in doing TikTok. And these things have a way of dulling your sensibilities. It dulls your sensibilities. It dulls your creativity. It weakens your mindset and your motivation because what you are doing is getting cheap dopamine. Do you know what it means? When you have more dopamine in your body, you are looking for easy things. So you will not be able to flex your muscle. If I say I want to grow six-pack, of course, I don't have six-packs today. What do I need to do? I have to go to the gym. I have to lift weights and all of that. It's the same thing with your mind. The more you train your mind, the more your brain extends in capacity, and you will see the difference in the quality of work that you put out. If you don't learn anything else today, decide that from today, I don't want to be average, and I will always develop myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have a witness in the house? Thank you so much. Doctor?
Thank you. Taking off from there,
Yeah.
I had an enemy called average. I don't know if any of you have read that book.
Yeah.
When I came in contact with that book, I told myself, I can never be an average. And it showed up when, during my PhD level, I had a GP of 4.8, and everybody was shouting, how did you do it? So what I have for the teaming young people coming up, wherever you find yourself, make the best out of it. Okay. Don't say, I'm in this place, this is not even what I want. This is not the, no. Make the best out of it. Add the much value you can. Be flexible and open up for opportunities as they come. You know, if you keep putting in your best, definitely you will get to where you are going.
Thank you so much. Be flexible, open up yourself for opportunities, take them as they come. Yes, Mrs. Concord, 2 minutes.
Thanks. I really have to add to what he said about having, learning. Today, so two things. In today's workforce, what are employers looking for? They're looking for people who will have a solution mindset, who will come and bring answers to the questions and the challenges that they have. And you don't have to be a director to be able to do this. So if you look at Nigeria, I think we have an opportunity. And the opportunity is that compared to the more developed, they're way ahead of us. They've looked at their processes, they've streamlined them, and they've been able to use technology to make things efficient and more, more impactful for their end customers. Here we're a bit behind, let's be honest. But then That's where the opportunity is, because we know and we can see what it could be, what the big picture could be. So for those of you that are seated here, that are either mid-career or you're looking for jobs, the question you should be asking yourself is, if I'm looking at this industry, what value can I bring? What skills can I bring to the table? Some are very easy, and honestly, this generation, I think, is so fortunate. There's so much information out there. You don't need to pay anything to learn how to become a data analyst. You don't need to pay anything to learn how to do project management. A lot of these esteemed universities are offering them for free online. There's so many freebies. So my question would be, what are you doing with this information that you have? You know, because for those of us that are in the workforce that recruit people, you come in here, we know how to package you very well. We know how to speak Queen's English. We know how to say all the right things. The panelists, they like you. You come in. Then, oh yeah, do the work. That's where the challenge is, though. Solutions are not being provided. Then we find ourselves having to lift and pick and start training all over again. So how do you stand out amongst the pack? What are you going to do differently that will make yourself, you know, memorable to your panelists, to the people that you work for? Because, and I know that Dr. is familiar with this, when we have talent review councils, when we talk about employees and their potentials and, you know, how we can help them grow their careers, we look out for those people. The people who are already showing us that they don't need to be supervised, that they take initiative, that they are lifelong learners, that they're not waiting for HR to send them to Harvard to train. They take their money, they invest in their development. Those are the people who have already started pushing themselves to the front of the line. And the truth is that if you invest in this and you toe this path, you will be top of mind to the leadership when they're looking for successors, where they're looking for people who they want to train and groom, where they are looking for people that they want to give the opportunity. A great example is, and I will end with this, you know, we are talking about technology, we're talking about digital skills. This is a must. According to the World Economic Forum report, one of the key skills from the years that they say will be a top skill from the years 2023 to 2027, one of those skills is digital capabilities. So this is an opportunity for you to invest in this, because when you come into the organization, you go to an FMCG that has been here for a while, they will have a lot of archaic processes. They're looking for Debo or Amanda or Sheung or Jubril to come in and provide the solution that will bring them from an auto-manual organization to one that is fully automated.
Awesome.
And that is where you will stand out, you know, and that's where the opportunities to stand out comes in. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. So I heard something, stand out, stand out. You want to add something in a minute? Thank you.
Trust me, I can tell you people that my colleagues here, they've extensively told you what you need to do to be successful. I can tell you that. Now, the next thing is now to internalize, to put it into practice. And what they've explained so far, I want to put it in just 3 words of what needs to be done. That winning mentality, you must have that winning mentality. You must have a way to plan, and you must carry out regular reviews. Am I moving the way I want to move? Very, very important. And once you can do all this, you can be rest assured that success will definitely come to you. My colleagues, Mr. Dapo shared a little about his own life. And also I want to quickly also share it. In all schools that you can talk about in this country, I attended virtually all the schools, apart from they call it a technical college. At the point of my schooling, I attended College of Education. I was there for 1 year, studying biochemistry, because I was strictly 100% science biased. Along the line, I said, no, I want to go to Polytechnic. Then I put in for computer science. With just 2 marks, I couldn't make it to computer science. I ended up with business admin. ONDB's admin, HNDB's admin. I said no. Immediately when I was in HND, I said, I need to go to university. When I was in HND1, Polytechnic Ibadan, I was in Part 1 Accounting of Obafemi Awolowo University. And I ran the program concurrently. Eventually, I graduated from HND with upper division, and also from IFE in accounting with 2-1. And from there, not part-time, full-time. And from then, I had that determination. I sat down, what do I want for myself? I'm extremely motivated that I want to be the best. And I make sure that for about 5 years, virtually every year, I have a course to go for one professional examination. I'm a chartered accountant with many other professional qualifications. I had my first master's from Obafemi Awolowo University and my second master's from Business School of Nigeria. But what I've seen in this, my very short journey, is that ability of that winning mentality, that I want to be a winner. 24/7, I have that vision, I have that plan, and I do regular review to check that, am I moving in that path? And when there's need for me to delay gratification, to delay enjoyment, I try to do that as well. This is just my own summary. Thank you.